Hello again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with y'all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Orange
It is the time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. Rock, Lindsay, Sutton, and Judy. We are the Iowa Broncos country.
Orange Weekly. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Broncos country, how we doing tonight? My name's Kev Dan. Welcome to another Bourbon Broncos No BS. And I think after last night, we all need some bourbon. But we could also talk some Broncos, have some fun. So glad you're here with us. Start posting those comments. Start posting those questions. We'll get to them here in a minute. We got a lot of, I think, still some good stuff to talk about. And either way, it's time to move on to the Steelers. We got those guys coming up on Sunday. So with that being said, let me bring in the crew here. Jared, Ayla, David, how y'all doing tonight?
Oh, yeah, we're feeling good.
It's so good.
Feeling better than last night.
Talking about feeling better than last night, I think I finally made a decision. I know there's been a lot of arguing across the board and seeing who, what side is better than the other, but I think it's time to make it official.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Team Puffball, baby.
That's right.
I am Team Puffball.
That's right. Shocker at the beginning of this episode. And
Jared says,
surprised.
fuck you.
Yep, Jared's out.
And he's gone.
But that's all right. We've got plenty here. We don't really need Jared showboating around this podcast anyway.
This is why I'm Team Puffball, man. This is why I'm Team Puffball.
For life.
For life.
Welcome, Kevin. It's never looked better on you. I promise you that.
And by never looks better, it means the fact that it's covering up most of your face definitely
that's a Jason
helps.
comment. That's a Jason comment.
Now,
right there.
Jared,
I'm pulling from the Jason file.
Just because your receding hairline is hidden so well by that visor doesn't mean that you have to cover.
I have a great head of hair. You don't. You know what? This isn't what the people came for.
It's not.
I'm
It's not.
sure.
But this is it's official. Just so you guys know, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Good. Great way to start the show, Kevin.
All right, well, let's move on from Kevin making terrible decisions. By the way, how do you feel about that, David? Anyways, what are you guys drinking tonight?
So I'm having some bourbon, but I'm not slurping it. It was a tough loss last night, but there's positives to work on, so I'm kind of drinking it slowly, savoring it.
I
What you got there,
I had to double up on life.
Ooh.
I have a little vanilla Crown and a Coors Light because I had to work after that sad thing all day today, and I've just been, I've been thinking about it. And then when it gets to right now, it's like I think I need 2 drinks to handle this.
It's fair.
You're not alone.
Yep.
Right.
And yes, I'm drinking whiskey from a wine glass.
We got the.
That is whiskey. Wow. That's
It's
good.
a glass. It doesn't fucking matter, and it's whiskey, so whatever. We got the Breckenridge Brewery Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale, and it's the best can out there, and it makes the beer better. So
I don't
hate
think
it.
that's true, but I do like that they went with the old school logo on that, and I think that's my favorite part.
My
They're really,
Yeah.
they're leaning into
My
that old
favorite.
school logo. It's
They
good to
are,
see.
I love it. They was in the end zone for the game. You guys see that? The old school
Yep.
logo was in the end
Hopefully it'll
zone,
be
which I
there.
think was
Good.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be really
I didn't,
nice.
I didn't get it tattooed on my body for no reason.
damn right.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Okay, we got some comments already, and I think one of the first ones I see right here. Boom. Dan, how you doing? Any news on Lindsey? So, turf toe, hoping he's coming back.
Yeah, it's not a significant injury in terms of just, physically, but it is going to be that kind of injury that takes a while to rehab, unfortunately. Like, he's not going to be 100% for a while with that.
Well, and they come in different degrees, so they don't want to tell us how bad it is. It could be just the 1 degree or whatever that is, but it could be but it could be a little worse, but we won't know, and they shouldn't tell us, and they shouldn't tell anybody.
Nope.
I mean, those injuries, they should just, keep it to themselves and let him do his thing. Rehab him the best they can.
Yep.
Yeah, I think with this one, too, like you said, it's different varying degrees. The only thing that's interesting about it is you don't really know. You can't really put him on the IR. It's not really a longer than 3-week injury, so you kind of have to play back and forth. Luckily for us, we have a great backup running back, and as Tanner had alluded earlier in the podcast, if you go watch the post-game podcast, I think we have the best third running back on the depth chart in the league. So Royce Freeman, I think, is probably one of the best third on the depth chart running backs out there. So I think we have a pretty good backup plan. I don't think it's really emergency time to go try to run out and find somebody. I think that was the second part of the question. But obviously we want him to get better, and we're better with him on the team than we are without him. So.
More injury news. Cortland Sutton, he was more on the doubtful side than questionable this week per Coach Fangio, but really hoping that he can come back this next week. I think I'm not saying that we absolutely need him, but if you pair him up with Jerry Jeudy, who will hopefully just focus a little more on catching the ball first. I mean, he showed what he has, and it's fantastic. But if you put those two out there on the field together, that's going to really bolster our offense right there.
Man, we missed him last night. The offense had productive periods, but I think with him on the field, I think you would have seen a lot more consistency out of that offense last night, just from the chemistry he's had with Locke all camp.
He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. That's going to happen. I think ultimately, I mean, you saw what he did with the ball in his hands.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see the way that he gets open. I mean, even on his first catch of his career, he slipped, got up, and still had the guy beat by 3 yards. Like, that was amazing how he could break that, slip, get back up, and still catch the ball. So such a high ceiling, and obviously, and we're probably going to say it at least 30 times. If you watch anybody else, you're going to hear it 30 times. We have one of the youngest teams in the league. Our offense is the youngest team, the youngest offense in the league. And that's showed a little bit on that, on top of not having preseason, a new coach, which we'll get into, and I want to talk a little bit about Pat Shurmur and the way that he played this game. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. Everyone's like, stone hands Jeudy. Like, let's not start with that because it's not the case.
People need to knock it off a little bit with that. Like, he didn't even have a preseason game, and I mean, it's jitters. That could have been legit jitters. I mean, it's first NFL game ever, and he did pretty good. So he dropped 2 important passes. There was other mistakes as well. So I thought his route running was he was so fast to watch. The other guys couldn't even keep up with it. It's just like
it wasn't. His route running was just half the story. When he had the ball in his hands, his lateral quickness was incredible to watch.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think would be the first to admit that he needs to get better at that right away. And I would think he's probably going to be spending some time after practice on the jugs machine without anybody telling him to, because that's the kind of player he is. So,
he's probably sleeping with that football in his hand. Like when people duct tape 40s to their hands, he's just going to duct tape the ball.
He'll figure it out. That's very fixable. You have that first game under your belt. Okay, just go out there and play ball.
Yeah.
We also got Hamler. He was limited in practice last week. I think I was excited to see him in terms of the kickoff return, punt return, and see why we drafted him and why we got him primarily for that special team side of things. So it sucked not having him out there, but again, I think he has just another level to this team that we could have used last night.
Yeah, he was
it's another rookie level that we're looking at. But as far as to answer your question, it looked like Fangio said that he's basically expected to practice in full this week. Obviously, not practicing in full last week, he was limited in practice. game time decision that kind of makes it a little easier when you're talking about a rookie. If you're not getting a lot of time, a lot of reps especially with the quarterback, it's all about timing on a lot of those plays. It's difficult to be able to put you in even if you are feeling like 90%. It's easier to sit you, get you a full week of practice, and then get you in the game. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think KJ Hamler coming back is going to add an additional depth of speeds, especially. And we'll get to Drew Lock and how much he needs that speed.
One thing I thought was super interesting was just how many jet sweep motions there were last night. And, I don't think we ran it maybe once, but only once. But we ran the action like 5 to 7 times, maybe even more than that, I thought. With Hamler back there, that's going to add even another dimension just to that. They're already practicing that, the rest of the offense, but to have a speed demon like Hamler back there for that, I think we saw Tyree Cleveland get those snaps that maybe KJ Hamler would have carved out go to him last night, and he did fairly well. But yeah, I think there's going to be room for Hamler on this offense when he does get back.
Yeah, so I just want to mention on the jet sweep, the most important part of the jet sweep isn't who gets the ball. It's about what the defensive alignment is. If you're running a jet sweep, you could easily tell what kind of defense they're in based on who moves, who shifts, who follows. And I think that's the reason we were running it, is to get Drew Lock more of an idea of what he was running against. I know off the jet sweep we ran the RPO a couple times, the run pass option, which I really loved, and something that I think that's super cool at Broncos country we've never seen before, and something that Pat Shurmur brought in this year, which I think is going to be deadly for us once we start getting the timing down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I think we just talked about it, but overall, this offense is just so young, and it's probably going to be the storyline for the season. We're going to see this team grow and mature. Pat Shurmur is still not only trying to install his offense, but really get to know what his players are good at and what they're not good at. And I think that's going to come into play when he's trying to make a decision on what to call. So it sucks to see those kind of drop passes and stuff, but I'm not worried about it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the offense that we should have expected to see, honestly. Like, we were talking a little bit about this before the game. Who knew, what we were going to actually get? There was a lot of optimism out there, and, for good reason. We want to back our young team that has a lot of weapons on it. But really, the kind of periods of good to maybe even great, followed by periods of what the hell are they doing, is about what we should have expected with an offense this young, with a new first-time coordinator, with no preseason.
And Red Cloud said it just a little bit ago. It did kind of feel like a first preseason game, but it felt to me like a little bit more intense and real. Because preseason, I always feel like is more of an audition. These guys were out there; they were going 100%, and those little mistakes. It's going to happen. I mean, this happens deep in the season too. You'll have those games and you're just like, duh, why'd you drop that out of nowhere when somebody even has their hands going? So Judy, I think, definitely has time to fix it. And he'll capitalize. He even says, I think he tweeted out, failure will get them into action and fixing things faster. So you learn from it.
I think it's easy to blame Cushenberry for those snaps. At least one of them. I'm pretty sure both, but the one especially, Drew Lock was looking away before he even had a grip on the ball. The ball was right where it needed to be. So
and they will get their
easy to blame.
Cushenberry
did fantastic.
I thought he did great.
Yeah. He
was something that I was super excited to watch too.
First of all,
Jared's got
hard pass on blaming the center. Hard pass on blaming the center on any of the. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Matt. You can't blame the center on those. Even if it is a little low, you have to understand that ball might be a little low for a reason, right? So he has to catch those balls. If it is anywhere in between all right, let me see if I can. If it anywhere in between this area right here, it's got to be caught. It's got to be caught. And as a quarterback, you got to know where that's at. Like, you cannot blame the center on that. Sorry, John, I don't mean to get upset, but. And as a quarterback guy, you would never want to blame the center on those unless it is at your, like, literally on the ground, bouncing off the ground. You can't blame the center.
Nope. Let's see what else we got. Here's a good one from Red Cloud. Yeah, calm down. Well, I mean, it's kind of fun to see you get worked up, though. I'm not going to lie. Will the offense be ready
I thought for the most part, our offensive line, which a lot of people were seriously worried about, they freaking held their own, man.
They did.
It's a tough defensive front. Absolutely.
Did we hear Bowles?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Not once.
Like,
So here's the thing, and we're going to get into these, but of the top 10 rated players on Pro Football Focus for the Broncos, the entire offensive line is in there. All 5 of them are in the top 10.
Wilkinson?
Even Elijah Wilkinson, who and he played a decent game. He had the one kind of botched.
Yeah,
he had the one that was kind of a rush on the outside that he really didn't get to. And I remember watching that and be like, nah, it's Elijah Wilkinson. But honestly, he still ended up there. Everybody is in the top 10, which I absolutely think it's amazing, and it shows A, the power of what they can do going forward, and B, the play calls and the way that we got the ball out of the pocket to be able to give them time and set up. You know, I think our play action pass worked out better than most of our passes that was in the under center.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and you know, it's got to be encouraging to see that it's also a tough test, like Red Cloud pointed out. That it doesn't get any easier with the Steelers D. They might even be better. Like, I mean, guy for guy, probably if in the top 3 defensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, what about Josie Jewell? I mean,
well, we can talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Josie Jewell a little bit. So, I think he didn't have a bad game. There was a couple times that he did. He missed coverage a couple times. He's a smaller linebacker. Let's also remember that. There was a couple times, you know, him standing next to Derrick Henry alone, you could tell the size difference. And he went one-on-one with him.
Right.
Now, whether or not Henry got an extra 3 or 4 yards after he hit him is, you know, that's a different story. But he went one-on-one with a guy who's twice his size, basically. And I think he ended up playing a decent game for where he's at and what position he was thrown into.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I think you're right. He was out of position on some coverages. You know, he couldn't get quite to his zone a couple of times, it seemed like. But that was a problem a lot of people, including Justin Simmons, were having last night.
God.
Yeah, so it was a little bit rough.
Talk about like so disappointing. It's just was excited to watch him, and
you know, and it's one thing worth noting. We've talked about the youth on offense a little bit, but the youth in the defensive backfield last night was really on display, especially after A.J. Bouye went out. You had Michael Ojemudia in there a lot. You had Essang Bassi in there a lot. And, you know, it was the first time these guys had played as a defense in a game setting at all. So, you know, I think Ojemudia especially had a really impressive interception that I didn't actually we didn't get to see a replay of the call that wiped that out. I've heard it's very questionable.
I know. I heard
it is.
Well, they didn't show it.
Yeah, they didn't show it, but I've heard
that one really didn't make any sense, and it was one of the things you're sitting there scratching your head and asking for a replay, and you don't get it, and it's just like, oh, now we just have to go with this, and they get to keep charging on, which it totally would have deflated their whole march, and
yeah. Absolutely.
And it didn't make sense. And at least not,
Yeah. Well, you know, we can complain about officiating all we want. But
and I won't because it's going to happen. They're human beings, and the refs are getting into it. It's their, you know, they didn't get preseason either, which happens every year. Yeah. So I'm definitely not going to go on the ref blaming thing. And it's never that one play, but that one did hurt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the one thing I will say about Josie Jewell, though, is he had the lowest Pro Football Focus ranking of all of our Broncos, all of our starting Broncos. He did. And again, it was just a couple missed coverages, the tackles, the one-on-ones he got. But again, the guy drug him for 5-6 yards. But again, it's Derrick Henry.
I know.
So you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt.
I'm surprised. We actually did great at containing him. That I think better than most teams can and do. Yeah. And he just kept going. It didn't seem like altitude affected that guy at all, but he wasn't letting up, and neither were we. So I was actually pretty impressed with what we did.
But it says something about him. Yeah, he had 3.7 yards per carry. And when you say limited to 3.7, that's what people dream of. People dream of having almost 4 yards per carry. But this is Derrick Henry, and it's different. And we're talking about a guy who had over 100 rushing yards, and everybody's sitting here saying, Broncos did a great job containing a guy who had over 100 rushing yards on the game and 3.7 yards per carry. Again, they gave the ball to him all the time. I think our problem was the rollout. The play action really got us. We were so focused on stopping Derrick Henry that we just did not focus on the play action. Especially Justin Simmons. We talked about it a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. They especially in the first half. I think they tightened up a little bit in the second half, but they were also on the field so much in that third quarter, especially that they really, especially when Tennessee kind of changed up their and went to that no huddle quick attack. It was really kind of hard for our guys to adjust to after being on the field for so long.
Yeah, they just kept going, and it just kind of gave me flashbacks of last year of like, okay, can we get our offense on the field more? Our poor defense is just like out there a lot. And they're gonna need breathing time too. We need to learn to get some more first downs to give them that time.
Yeah, absolutely,
easily. What else you got, guys? Keep posting your comments, questions.
Let's play a game. Pro Football Focus. Who was our top-rated Pro Football Focus? Who had the best rating in Pro Football Focus from that last game? You think?
I love your game
hat.
Have you already? Nice game hat, Kevin.
Oh, I didn't look. Did anybody look?
Wait, what are you asking?
I'm glad you didn't look. What do you guys think? Who had the best game? So the top two are interesting, and I'll explain why. But who do you think had the best game according to Pro Football Focus?
Noah Fant.
No, he was number 6.
6. Okay.
What do you think, Ayla?
Dinosaur Johnson.
Surprisingly, he's not even on this top.
Oh, he didn't even?
He didn't, okay. Which I don't agree, and I can go look him up, but no, he wasn't on there.
Well, then, he was just always up in it.
Kevin?
Sorry, I'm looking at specifically offensive grades. So let's go offense, and we'll go defense. So defense, no, you're right. Defense, Johnson had a 72.4. He absolutely beasted it. He definitely was one of the top guys. So offense, who do you think was the number one offense? We'll say if you get somebody in the top 3.
Melvin Gordon.
Nope. No, Melvin Gordon was number 9.
9.
Melvin Gordon had an overall of 64.
All right, Puffball 2.0. Let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So, not looking at all, I would just have to guess that it's Tyree Cleveland, Philip Lindsay, and Garrett Bowles.
This is why it took him so long, is he was actually fucking looking it up.
No, I already had the stats up, and then you asked him,
you
click.
Fucking cheater. All right, look, so Tyree Cleveland, obviously.
He said not looking.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, thank you, boo, Kevin.
That's why I do.
This is what you're associated with, Team Puffball. Team Puffball is associated with cheaters.
Now, we're going to have a team meeting on Team Puffball.
That's
standards.
When
we do that.
Cheaters.
I could switch to Team Visor, but I'm not that kind of guy.
So let's talk about this. So Tyree Cleveland had a couple very good blocks. I think that he had a very good time out playing wide receiver, and he had a couple really good blocks on run plays. He obviously got a couple passes, which was good. Philip Lindsay, obviously, before he went down, he only had a few balls given to him, but he made the most of what he got, which again, it's the Philip Lindsay we all know and love, and it worked. It was working out really well until he went out with that turf toe. But Garrett Bowles,
why he got the turf toe.
Someone who played the entire game, the person on the top of that played obviously Tyree Cleveland's our wide receiver 3-4. Almost maybe 5 if you look at it. Philip Lindsay kind of went out at halftime, so that kind of counts. But Garrett Bowles had a 72 rating on Pro Football Focus. What do you guys think about that?
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Look, you didn't hear his name on that long, and if you don't hear his name, that's probably because he's doing a good thing. And
we were talking so much about who he was going up against. He went up against some all-stars, and he held his own, and he was doing his job.
And that's what Kevin and I talked about the other day. It's like we wanted to believe him. He said he was going to try to be better this year. And with his athleticism. I mean, dude's a beast. It might be because of Drew Lock having a little bit more going with it, but I wanted to believe him, and so far, so good.
Yeah, I only kind of looked his way a couple of times last night, but I definitely remember at least once when he was on Clowney directly. Boy, that's painfully true. Yeah. Anyway, I saw him go up against Clowney on one rep specifically and do very well. And I thought, well, that's nice. Maybe I don't have to watch that for the rest of the game. And I would say there was a lot more pressure coming from the right side of the line when there was pressure than from the left.
Also, you have to think about, like, again, and I could start this right now, but the game plan, I think, was actually pretty good. There was a couple times that we're kind of scratching our heads, like that 4th and 1 on the goal line. That was a little questionable on the play call there. But other than that, I think the game plan was really good. Getting Drew Lock out of the pocket is what we need to do. We need to get Drew Lock out of the pocket. And I think that's really what held it up for all of our offensive linemen being in the top 10 on Pro Football Focus, is because they rolled the pocket. They moved the pocket, and the offensive line had time and knew where they were going to go. You sit in the pocket against most of the defenders in this league, and you're going to get demolished. But if you have to roll the pocket, it really opens up a lot more.
And especially going into this week with a defense that has TJ Watt, and it's going to be really, really important to keep that pocket on the move. With this offensive line, I think that's really one way they can find any kind of success against a Steelers defense that looked pretty formidable against the Giants last night. I don't know if you guys caught any of that game. Yeah, it was. They picked off Daniel Jones a bunch of times. It was. Yeah.
I mean, some of those passes were pretty, like, straight into their hands.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, the defense, the Pittsburgh defense was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a worthless burger rehabbed and doesn't look so worthless, but I still think we can take them.
Yeah, their offense did not look spectacular to me. Roethlisberger looked like he could throw the football, which, it was a question, but
which is surprising. Yeah.
But it wasn't
they gave him a bionic arm.
Yeah, it wasn't like the offense that came in 2015 that defense had to stop. It's not like that anymore.
So our secondary was questionable against Tennessee.
And I knew they were going to test us.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to test us, though.
But they didn't. How do I put this? They didn't test us through the air, right? What they did was they ran, play actioned out, and had us beat because we were so focused on stopping the run, which did a decent job of stopping the run. But that play action rollout, the one thing that they got us on is that we kept playing man, which is good because that allows us to load up the box. But when we play man, they have these fast guys coming over the middle on the drags. They have them by two. It's an easy throw. Tannehill was making nothing that he threw was super spectacular. But it was guys that were wide open because of the way that we were playing. It's because we were playing the man. It's because we were playing the man and the rush.
And we had those deep crossing routes were really a problem for this defense.
It's all about that.
Yeah. And
that's Tennessee's offense. You have to stop the run, so you're going to load the box and play man. Their entire offensive passing game was man against the man defense, and it worked. And what's his name? The receiver he was beasting us. I mean, he was making catches out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Corey, he was killing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, at some point, I was sitting there watching and being like, I'm not even mad. I'm actually kind of impressed. That was a great catch.
I mean, they got to do it. And when he stiff armed the hell out of Kareem Jackson, Kareem Jackson got his last night, but that was not a good look.
He did.
Yeah.
He did, and thanks for Kareem Jackson, who stepped up because Justin Simmons seemed like a wash. It
was not good. It was not a good night. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And somebody that I was super excited to watch. I need more whiskey. I was super excited, and I've always pumped up Simmons. It's just like I was excited. There was a lot of hype behind it, and I don't know what was going on. Maybe he was having a bad day because we're human, and that can happen too. But it was super disappointing for the franchise tag to just not show up. It seemed like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, laid a little bit of an egg.
I mean,
first game. It's a first game, and
first game. I know, and
but you have a point. Like, hey, is this going to get better? Time will tell. And if it doesn't get better, then it's
Is he mad for some reason? Like I don't know.
No, I'm going to chalk it up to a bad game, but it's definitely something to watch. And I think across the board, and then on the offense in general, between Jerry Jeudy's drops, Drew Luck's kind of, inaccuracy down the field.
We should have had the turnover.
Yeah, just those stupid penalties. So, they're very fixable things, but I'm curious, and I believe that they will be, but I'm curious to see how and if and when they'll be actually fixed. And it's going to take a bit. It's not going to be perfect by next game, but I think in the next month we can get most of this stuff
and
out and be looking
fantastic. A little bit of head coaching. He needs to head coach it up a little bit more. Like I've talked Fangio up too, and it's like, dude, what the hell happened?
So let's talk about this. Okay, here we go.
Yep. Here we go.
Okay, I don't like this. I don't like this narrative. And again, you're going to get me worked up, and I haven't had enough whiskey for this. Look, I don't like this narrative of he makes one bad on the line. He makes a decision. Everybody hates it because nobody is allowed to make a fucking decision. And he gets down and lets the no timeout. Obviously, okay, it's not the popular decision. I also don't agree with it. I think he should have taken the timeout and give us a little bit more time. But he made a decision. He's going forward.
He wasted so much time. We were sitting there. It
was less than a minute. It was less than a minute.
I know, but
it was less than a minute on the clock.
I mean,
look, it was less than a minute on the clock. It would not have mattered that much. But here's the thing. That's one decision. Name me something last year that he did wrong that you don't like.
That was a year ago. It's been a long 2020.
So why is Bronco Country getting all mad and on the fence about Vic Fangio?
No,
he's turned our defense around.
No, he's absolutely amazing. And I'm fired up too because I've always been. I believe in him, and I've been behind it. But when you get to that, and and last year, aren't we sick of losing these close games in the last 30 seconds? I mean, aren't you tired of that too? Step up and call a freaking timeout. You had 3.
So he made a decision. He made a decision that honestly, if it would have paid off, it would have paid off. But you guys, everybody's super mad, and everyone thinks that they know better because they're not in that situation. David, go ahead. Say what you want to say.
So, okay, you go, David.
All I'm thinking is expecting somebody to miss a 5th kick in a game.
A 5th kick. I mean,
that's not what he was expecting. He wasn't expecting Derrick Henry to run 10 yards on the next play.
Sorry,
well, we know you can't expect that, but you also have to
be MVP. But he wasn't going to miss again.
What he was doing was he was expecting the time to run out. There were 30 yards out. It would have been a 35-yard kick, and he wasn't expecting Derrick Henry to run another 10 yards, and he did. Right,
yeah,
he made a bad choice on that.
And he'd been pushing all game.
And we've been holding him the whole game.
Okay. No. Okay. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Look, I completely understand the passion. I think, we've been dying for football, and here,
I'm not going to throw him out here.
No. I know
that's what Broncos Country is saying.
I know a lot are.
At the end of the day, we should have lost that game to begin with. The fact that they missed 3 field goals and an extra point, we couldn't get a touchdown on the 1 yard line. We're the ones that got those penalties after the interception. We're the one that, overthrowing the ball down the line. We had every reason to win, and that did not. Yeah, I don't agree with the Fangio calls either. But,
I know, because it's never just one play that loses you the game. But
that's where I think it's kind of a point.
But
we're never going to agree with everything. You know what I mean? I would still rather have him than almost basically anyone else, you know what I mean?
Joseph.
I'm Vance Joseph.
I wasn't going to say it.
Bring that up. I mean, I'm way more happy with it, but he'll learn from it too, hopefully, because he finally owned up to it today, and he said it's my fault, my bad.
Yeah, he did.
So,
right.
But there's blame all the way around.
He makes a decision. My bad. In retrospect, obviously, I need to learn from that. I move on from it. But the fact that people are getting so mad, they're getting so angry, and they're like, throw the towel, Vic Fangio.
No, I don't agree with Broncos Country to jump and ship this
I need another
early.
drink.
I don't agree with that. I think everybody who's a fan, we've hung on long enough through all these shitty seasons, and we are here. It's finally a building block year. and that's it. Like, we can take this. I'm not totally throwing him out, but I'm allowed to be a little bit mad at that.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, I am too. I completely
I'm
disagree
getting
with the
sweaty
decision.
here, like,
Now the fact he came out. I mean, how many head coaches come out and say, "Yeah, I totally fucked that one up, guys. Sorry," but
and
this is
and
game
it
one.
was like he had to sleep on it though, because last night he was like, I did what I did.
Well, if I'm a coach, I'm going to go out there and be like, "Yeah, I totally screwed that up."
He never said that it was the right decision. He just explained his decision.
Oh, boy. All right.
But no, look, you're spot on, Ayla. This is the first building block here we have really legitimately had since Peyton Manning. Okay, This is Fangio's second year. No, he's not a rookie head coach anymore or anything, but this is going to take time. And I was
but he's
as
also
pissed as
not a
anybody else.
seasoned head coach. Like,
Yes,
we have
exactly.
to give him that too. Like,
he
has
should've-
experience, but and so he's still learning too. So I do give him a little bit of pliability that way. Like, he is learning, and he'll learn from that. And I'm not throwing him away. I still like him. Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm still piss me off.
So look, here's the thing, and CJ, I know you're talking about, let's be positive. That's where we're all coming from right now. Is
That's
this
We're
team?
super
This team
positive.
can
We're
be better.
super
We're not
positive.
going anywhere. We're
Hey, I
saying
don't-
get rid of Fangio.
Can
None
I-
of us are saying the season is over.
Can
This
I-
is passion
Not even
of
close.
Can I,
Not
for the
even
record, we're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet.
Beautiful. Can I talk about because there's some positives to talk about from last
No,
year.
there is all positives, and I've
And-
had to, and I spread the positivity.
Let's give a little more to Jerry Jeudy for what he did do. I know he had some drops and he was not good, and
It was fun to watch, right?
it's such a weird game. We both should have won that game and deserved to lose it.
Yeah.
We deserved to lose it, and we should have won it. And there's so many factors that go into it that we can't really just pin it on anybody, or any five anybody's really. Like, any 10 things could have gone right for us, and we would have won that game. But, Jerry Judy's route running, oh my God.
Yeah, there are so many bright spots to this team. That's what I'm saying. That
so
sucked,
many bright spots.
but this team's going to get better every single week. I really believe that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
by the end of the year and into next year and the year after, this team is going to be
And I think that's
on fire
why
and
I'm
fun.
so mad, because it's like, you guys, the
That's why I'm mad.
potential there is so, and it's so bright, and it's like you're on the verge of winning. Like, we should have won that, but we definitely, deserve to lose too. So
Really quickly-
it's all from positivity.
Really quickly, I want to give a shout out to Broncos World Order. CJ Villa there is fantastic.
guys.
We've been working with him
Yeah.
and Broncos World
Cheers.
Order since day one.
CJ,
Go check them
cheers
out.
to
Follow
you.
them on Facebook. If you haven't done so already, they're big partners with us. So appreciate Broncos World Order for everything they do. So
Yeah,
I think
that is
our-
super legit. I love those guys. They're
I will say this: my biggest frustration, CJ, and why I get so worked up is people that do doubt us. And I think that's why I get so mad. I get so angry when people are like, fire everybody, get rid of Drew Lock, get rid of Fangio. Like, we're awful. Like, it makes me mad. We have such a
makes me
young
mad.
team, and it's something that we can look forward to and something that we got going forward to us. And I
it's
love
the
it.
people who are like, we need to win now, otherwise we suck, and I can't stand the team. Okay,
I know. I
then
can't
get outta
stand the
here.
fire
That's
him
not
now
football.
kind of things.
That's
We're not
not
going to
football.
fire him. He
Yeah.
is doing a good job. Did he make a bad decision? Probably. But do I want to fire him? Absolutely not. I want to build with it. You don't just knock over your castle when you're starting to finally get a foundation.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Absolutely.
So here's a good point. And what we were talking about Jeudy. Jeudy ran out of the slot on the drive that we scored, and he had so many good catches out of the slot, and I think it really worked out for him. And I think it worked out so much better for our team when he was running out of the slot, because he could make things happen. He had a lot more space to work with. How quick his feet are, I think it worked so much better. So I would expect to see him out of the slot probably a lot more, even when Courtland Sutton does come back.
Well, and he's such a great weapon to have in the middle of the field where you want your quarterback to go, and it's really tough for your quarterback to go sometimes. So that would be a real asset, especially when Courtland Sutton comes back, because he can stretch the field and, catch those vertical routes that, Drew Lock likes to throw and just wasn't hitting last night.
And so here's another thing too, and we're talking about how young of a team was. I think obviously Drew Lock didn't get a great Pro Football Focus grade. There was a couple times we were trying to throw towards the end. He wasn't making good throws. Hey, I remember 3 deep throws. Yeah. And on each one of them, the receiver had the corner beat by at least a step and a half. Maybe on one of them, he had him beat by like 3 steps. He was wide open in the end zone, and he just overthrew. The guy's got a cannon for an arm.
Got a cannon.
He's got to learn.
He's got to learn to control it. He's a young quarterback. He's working with his timing with these receivers. I mean, I thought one of them, the Deshaun Hamilton in the end zone one, I thought that was a touchdown for sure. Just a little bit over the top. And once he gets that timing down, he gets that control down. This is going to be a different offense.
And that's them working together, and that's them gelling, and that's preseason that we missed. I mean, that is continuity between the players that they have to work on together, and they will.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he did do okay. Really, he did.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't have a pick. Yeah. I'll tell you the first deep throw to Judy, that was a dangerous throw. The safety was pretty close to that one, but I think that was his most dangerous throw of the night. And maybe that's why we didn't see a little bit more as far as downfield passing from him went. He really wanted to protect the ball. But he's going to find that balance between protect the ball and playmaker. We saw him on those rollouts last night do such a good job of getting the ball into intermediate receivers' hands, a little bit deeper receivers' hands, or shorter receivers who had a lot of room in front of them to run. And he made good decisions on a lot of those balls.
Yep.
I thought he was moving super fast and looking down the field. I mean, you could see his movement in his eyes. He's fast out of that pocket. It's nice to have somebody who's actually moving. So I thought that was great.
Moving, making the reads, going through progression, not just checking down as soon as the first guy is not open, So it's all of that together. And that whole compilation shows that he has such the strong foundation already and the talent he already has. Now, some of the things we saw last year was maybe some confidence issues at the last couple of games after he threw some bad balls. So, is he going to continue to improve and get over, the bad throws he had this game? But he has every weapon available to him, both in his own talent and around him. So I'm excited. It sucked, but I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Things that I saw that improved from last year. One, his decision-making ability, and you were right, that not needing to check down right away, which was amazing. He went through his progressions. He went through his reads. The other one was other than there was, I think there was one where the guy was wide open in the middle of the field. He tried to go for the kind of double-covered guy, and it didn't work out, and it was like, Deshaun Hamilton was wide open in the middle of the field, and that was
he just missed him. Yeah,
he just missed him. But I also think that he's doing better. His footwork is still a little off. He's throwing a cross body a couple times, which again I think they're just going to pull him in and be like, okay, you need to slow your roll on that. And I know one of them we end up with a touchdown with, and even that was a risky throw. But ultimately, he's learning, and I think that's the best part. And he's learning with the offensive coordinator, he's learning with his new quarterback coach, and he's learning the playbook. And to how to excel in this. And you know what I liked the most about? And I know Judy dropped it, but that run pass option was one of my favorite calls. When we ran pass option Jerry Jeudy in the slot with the slant over the middle, that was perfect. He catches that, and that's a completely different game. And he made the perfect decision.
Yeah, Locke hit him right on the hands too. He put the ball exactly where it needed to be. So
he made the perfect decision, and it just dropped, and sometimes that's how how it turns and how it ends up. But
well, and his quote, to correct myself from earlier, is failure is growth. So these guys are going to learn from that, and I think that's 100% true, because when you're perfect and you come out of the chute, if it all came together perfectly, we wouldn't learn anything. So the mistakes will make us better.
He didn't have any pick sixes like a certain Tom Brady this week.
Right.
Yeah. So no turnovers at all from that quarterback position, actually.
Right. So we had the fumble, which 2 fumbles, I believe.
Well, he did.
One was turned over. The other one we recovered.
Well, he fumbled 2 snaps. We recovered both of those. Melvin Gordon's fumble was the one that we lost.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon, we lost a fumble from Melvin Gordon, and again, that's one of those things that And
I mean,
I know,
you're gonna get
Kevin.
that
I heard,
from Melvin Gordon.
I listened to the podcast, Kevin, and you were pretty heavy on him and kind of mad at him. I know you hadn't had your morning coffee, but you were pretty mad at him for not holding on to that ball. But honestly, like these things happen. This guy's
no. We all were. We all were on the chat last night out of
I
reaction.
will pull up the damn
He
chats.
did-
I'll fucking give you his chats. I'll pull up your chats.
He got better. I even said that in the podcast, and you guys should go listen to the post-game
Right.
podcast. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher. But you guys, he got better. And, when Philip Lindsay went out, it was like, well, crap, But then Melvin Gordon really put it on. So, yeah, I'm going to sit there and say, that's really not something that you should have fumbled. It wasn't really stripped. Come on, dude. Why are we paying you $1 million? And then he turned it on, and that's, yeah,
But
that
also,
was scary.
the thing is that
So you're telling me someone's been in the league for 8 years isn't allowed to fumble?
No.
Melvin Gordon
He's
has
had more fumbles in that game than Philip Lindsay's had in 2 years.
Melvin Gordon fumbles.
Come on.
That's a thing that Melvin Gordon does. It's a
I
thing
know.
that you knew that was going to happen when you signed Melvin Gordon.
It's like that's why it was 1B.
That's right. If I
That's
had
why
$8
he's-
million to spend on a
That's
running
why he's
back,
1B.
I might have spent it differently. But it's our guy now.
I'm
He's
still pretty glad we have him. I mean,
no,
with
I'm
Turf
not-
Show coming up, like
Yeah,
He helped me clean up over Kevin in fantasy this week. That was
he
pretty
did.
Wow.
He did. We are getting close to the fantasy talk time here soon.
No, we're not.
In
Oh,
which
yes,
No,
we
we're
are.
not.
Oh, yes, we are.
we have some important news for everyone. I may have lost to David, but somebody lost to
I'm sorry, I'm
somebody
cutting
worse.
out.
Look, no, I was mad in that moment. We all were. Look, the fact when Philip Lindsay goes out,
Oh.
the fact is when Philip Lindsay went out, Melvin Gordon stepped up
Yep.
and really carried that. Made some really, really fantastic runs, and so that's what we're looking for: is both these guys to be on their A game every single game. Yes, there are going to be fumbles. I get it, okay, but
Ooh. Oh. All right.
so do we need? Is it time?
let's get
We are
started.
getting. We might need to tell some fantasy stories. And,
I think no, we have let's wait about 10 minutes until okay. So Matt told the whole story. I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. So I'm gonna go back to Pro Football Focus.
Now,
Yeah.
I want to actually give Jared a little bit of slack here, not because of how badly his team did. There's no excuse, Jared, for how badly your team did. But the
Thank you.
auto draft team, I'm going to pull it up here, has a pretty ridiculous roster. Number one,
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, who had 41 fantasy points this week, which is a little bit ridiculous in and of itself. I think they also have Derrick Henry. And which, he.
I mean, it just pulls the best player from like it just takes
Right.
number one every time. Like there's
It-
no
right.
auto draft
I
should
don't
be
know,
over
injured
at least
players.
twice.
yeah.
Oh
I
gosh.
got people that got injured.
You know what? Go ahead and tell everybody what I'm not bad at that trivia.
Oh yeah, my team is. I may suck at trivia.
hold
Oh,
on.
Matt joined.
Oh, Matt's here.
Matt.
We got Matt.
Oh, thank God. All right. Talk some sense into the
I'm
audience,
going to
Matt.
fact check this one. First of all, Jared.
Yeah,
Jared.
yeah.
The auto draft picks the best player available. You pick some other freaking player that's down the list. Your
Right,
wife
right.
that you're sitting next to her, you're telling her who to pick, and then it's your time
Right.
to draft.
Because I'm a good husband.
You're an excellent husband. Your team is sick, and yours is garbage. And
Right.
I know she
Strategic.
whipped my
It was-
husband's ass.
dude, it's so funny that you scored
murder.
72 points. Like, see you later. That's it.
Were you aiming for those 69 points? Because I would have just been impressed at that point.
That
I would have just been impressed.
Right. At least that would
I was
have.
mad that I got those scores, and Evan Ingram scored too many points, or else I would have got 69.
I would have been impressed at that point. Yes. Yes.
Strategery. Strategery.
Right. Again, I gotta win. I gotta win bonus points with the wife. I have to give her a better team than I do. So that's how
I
that worked out.
don't know if that's how
That's
that
so
works.
not true.
That-
That is
I know you're
now you're
right.
just
That's
lying.
not at
and women
all.
hate liars.
Jared, thoughts?
Again, I stick with what I said, and that's my final answer.
That's your final answer.
All right.
Let's
So
let me get
you know
to
what we
the-
haven't done? We did a little bit. David did a little bit of it, but let's look forward to what we're doing against Pittsburgh. What is our plan against Pittsburgh? How do we stop the pass and Juju Smith-Schuster? Ben Roethlisberger apparently can still throw the ball at 80 years old. What are we doing? Like, what's our plan?
I'll tell you, that offense looked effective but not special against the New York Giants. And the New York Giants have some nice pieces on the defensive line, but nobody to speak of in the defensive backfield. It was not a blowout game by any means by that offense. So I think we can handle them on defense, if we're not out there for full quarters at a time. We just need a little bit more continuity on offense, and I think we'll see it. But I think we need a little bit more. We're probably not going to get as much as we actually want to see this week. It's going to take more time than that. But I think it's going to be a little bit better than last week.
Well, our secondary has to do a little better. I mean, it's just going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do this week, but that part of it was missing. Defend the run all day, but the secondary has to do it too, because deep ball throws that we can't get those up. We can't get those points.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and
especially with Bionic Old Man still working somehow. Jeez.
And we really didn't in this last game. It wasn't about the deep ball that hurt us so much. It was just the underneath, the 10 to 15 yard underneath throws that we just.
And here's it.
But they still need to be there. Like,
you're right. You're absolutely.
Where were they?
Yeah.
And here's the thing with this week, it was all about the play action, and we had to stop the run. Right, James Conner is possibly out for the next game. Like, I don't even know who their backup running back is. They're not going to play the run game. Ben Roethlisberger is going to throw probably 40 times this game. We're going to be able to play zone. We're going to be able to play a good pass defense, or pass defense, I guess. That sounds weird, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, and we have Bradley Chubb rushing from the edge, and I think that's the game that we need. We're a lot better. Thanks, Matt. We're a lot better in when we're playing against a pass heavy team, which is what most of the AFC West is, which is why we built our team the way that we have, as opposed to playing against somebody like the Titans who run 90% of the time and then do play action the other, 10%. If my math is correct.
I think just play smart. Okay. What?
Oh, I got it right. My math is correct.
I was like, wait, what? Okay. No.
Play smart.
Limit the penalties. Limit the. If Jerry Jeudy catches 2 more passes than he dropped yesterday, good Lord. Little improvements like that. I think if we can just move the ball, our defense isn't out there the entire third quarter pretty much. I don't see how we don't have a chance to win that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a chance to win last night. We're not a bad team.
Nope.
And every real fan in Broncos country knows that. It's those little small things that add up. It's going to be a lucky missed kick. We'll take it.
Pass
but
defense,
let's capitalize. Defense.
Missed kick.
Missed kick.
I know. All right.
I'm not drunk enough. I feel bad. I need to be more drunken.
Yeah,
that's what you get for drinking one beer. I mean, we've been on for an hour. You've drank one fucking beer, Kevin.
Did you hear the sound when he put that down? Listen, buddy, we're gonna have to talk about.
That was pretty heavy.
Yeah, that was pretty heavy sounding beer when you put that down. Listen, I know I'm glad to have you on Team Puffball, but we're gonna have to talk
team meeting
standards.
I'm now okay with it. I'm now okay that you have one more person on Team Puffball. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, I would be glad if you had anybody on Team Visor, but
I will find someone eventually.
I have golf gear. I have one.
Ayla's half Team Visor, so I'll take it.
I'm Team No Hat today. That's how sad I was.
Don't you dare.
I was too sad to even wear a hat. That's pathetic of me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Next week, we're going to have reason to all be wearing hats.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, we will. Let's beat those Steelers.
So speaking of the Steelers game, David, since we're in Colorado here now, where are you going to be watching the game from on?
Oh, we're going to be I think we're going to be at Colorado Cork and Keg in Castle.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I'm glad you asked.
Is it a thing that we're going to be doing? I think it is.
Jared is judging me so hard.
I'd love it because if you follow the stream and comment what drink you want them to order, they have to order it. So that's the
well,
deal.
also they have to have the ingredients for that drink. But yes, I mean, 100%.
Right. I mean, naturally, that there's a lot of things. So, yeah, go ahead and go follow them as they make idiots of themselves and order whatever drink that you want them to drink.
We do reserve the right to refuse based on cost of the drink. Like,
Yes.
I'm not
Okay.
doing
Well, I'll
shots
give
of
you
You
that.
guys
100-year-old.
are like taking requests for Louis the 13th.
No,
Like,
no
Yeah.
100-year-old cognacs. No.
No.
50-year-old
I don't mean to be
coffee.
that guy, but something tells me Colorado Corkindale doesn't have.
Probably
doesn't have
not.
Louis the
Louis the
13th.
13th.
But
Hey, you never know what they have in their stash.
Everybody has a top shelf, okay, Jared? I don't know what's on it, but everybody
That
has
one's like a
top
tippy top. That's like on your tiptoes top.
Right, absolutely.
But yes, Colorado Cork and Keg in Castle Rock, Colorado, off I-25. We'll be broadcasting there the whole time. Come on by. If you tell them that Orange Weekly sent you, you're going to half off your first drink. And I think David and I are actually going to try that. Walk in and just, hey, Orange Weekly sent us. I mean, we're not lying.
It's going to be
We'll see
a
what
thing.
they say.
We
But,
can send ourselves. That's allowed.
It's,
have-
yeah.
There are so few perks. to this
Just wear a
job.
visor
Well-
in there and they won't know who you are.
Oh no!
True.
No!
True.
Oh my gosh!
Never.
Not
ever.
worth it at that point.
No, never.
Wow.
I'm sorry. There's
I
no
was
amount
into
of-
it.
Half hat equals half off.
there's
I'd
no
rather
amount of
pay
This is
double.
happening.
I'd rather pay double for a drink
Yeah. There's
than
no amount
pay
of
half
alcohol in
and
the
wear a
world.
visor.
Next time I'm in Colorado, I'm getting David drunk enough to pass out so I could take a picture with the visor on.
Dare. You dare. You're a father now. All right.
Yes,
You have
Red
any-
Cloud, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. One more question we had about a new addition to the team, Isaiah Irving,
I did see that.
most recently from the Bears. I don't know. Probably not a huge impact signing. I think he probably sends Derek Tuska back to the practice squad. I think, wasn't he inactive? I know he was elevated to the active roster, but I think he was a game day inactive anyway. Anyway, probably, not a guy who's going to see a significant number of snaps. I think Jeremiah Toshu and Malik Reed did okay. Nobody's going to be Von Miller, but they were not, the pass rush wasn't useless.
Honestly, I was excited to see how much Atoshu ended up doing. I think
He did.
he ended up being pretty good. He got a sack, didn't he?
He did.
Was it
against-
him? Yeah.
It was a coverage sack, but
It was a coverage
credit
sack,
to
but
him.
he
Credit to him.
he fought it off and he kept going, which is something that Von Miller is known for. And he never stopped the play. He kept getting to the quarterback and he got the sack, which I was super impressed.
And Bradley Chubb is that's a work in progress. I think he didn't really get a snap count last night, but I think you could tell he wasn't really his explosive self either.
But it was still just nice to even see him for morale, I guess.
Very
It
much so.
was
Very
right.
And Shelby Harris, can we give some props to the hands? To the man
Big
with the
mitts.
hands.
Man,
Big
man.
mitts, man.
Darrell Casey too. He had a couple.
Yeah.
Jewel Casey
was
was
he
killing it.
fired up to come back to that team and be like, what? Who do you want me now?
That's right.
He was a big reason we held Derrick Henry to 100 yards on I don't know the stats, but 40 carries. He had a lot of carries and only 100 yards. He's a big reason why.
Yeah.
we
literally
held him to that.
literally a big reason.
I know
Right.
we were talking about his average a little bit earlier being only 3.7.
3.9.
Average,
Yeah.
But it was 5.
3.7.
116, yeah.
It was 5.1 last season. So that
What?
it's it's a lot of you took some damage from the guy, but man alive, you held up when it counted. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that-
we had so much positive. As much as it sucks to lose, we really, really have a lot to go on. And I don't think anybody, real Broncos fans, should jump ship anytime soon.
Oh, no. It's
And that's why it was so exciting for me watching Jarrell Casey play as well as he did against the run defense when most of our games are against guys that are going to be passing 75% of the time. And I think that that's really going to show when they're going to try to not be able to pass because we're playing good pass defense on the Vic Fangio defense. And then they try to run and Jarrell Casey's right there in the middle. And I think it's going to pay dividends starting against the Steelers.
The Steelers' O-line is supposed to be one of the better ones in the league just perennially, but they did not look super great against the Giants.
They didn't, and they didn't get great grades. Their center, Pouncey, only got a 41 grade.
Yeah.
He was not playing well. He was not playing well against the Giants.
Yeah, and that's not the most talented defensive line in the league. So,
no,
there's some opportunities to exploit there. I think.
I think we can win it.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it may take a little more time to come together. I think we probably come towards a win against Tampa Bay. I know that. Yeah, I think that's a potent offense, but I don't know that Tom Brady's got it anymore. I think that's really our best shot to win.
I agree.
Well,
this could be. Look, don't
I don't
count
know. I think we
Broncos
can
out.
take.
We could do
I
this.
think.
No,
and who says Roethlisberger's going to even hold up?
That's true.
I mean,
it's true.
We have taken down quarterbacks before. Mahomes' knee, like, get out of here.
Well, savage.
She went there.
Very, very careful.
Oh, wait, Matt, you get out of here. You just
Hold on.
post something on the banner bad about me. Get your face out of here.
You summoned our bearded genie now.
Our bearded genie has shown.
Yeah.
Fucking shit about Mahomes. Careful.
I
You're
will
gonna win
not
another
be
Super Bowl
careful.
on
You
you.
don't tell me what to do.
This has got to be the most ridiculous episode we've ever shot.
Absolutely. Look at the crowd. They love it. Oh my gosh. All right. Boy.
I blinked and he was gone. Wow.
Bearded genie. That's yep. That's him.
All right. Well, any thoughts before we sign off for the night? Any final things we want to go around and say? Put the hat back on, Kevin. Good.
Kevin.
Good.
Again, you are agreeing to Kevin being on your team.
Listen, you're not even gonna recognize Kevin once I get done with him. All right.
We'll get on the same page.
Okay.
Look, I just announced
saying.
this. Okay, we'll get on the same page.
Yeah,
we'll be good.
You're not even gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be so different from now on.
Kevin, I thought we started something good here, and
we did.
No, it's fine.
We did.
You do you.
You've been
It's okay.
replaced, and it's okay, Jared. It's okay to feel insecure about that. I imagine it feels as empty as the hole over your head,
So-
where the heat is escaping.
My full head of hair.
Yeah, all right. It's a short head of hair, but
We can see from the mirror that
All right,
it's
military
completely
requirements.
full,
I
you
have to.
guys.
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, there's
I-
all
no.
types of right in the mirror.
No,
right. Mm-hmm.
I never had those restrictions.
I don't
what
know.
we're talking about.
I'm still fired up for our team, and anybody who isn't should get back on board and get your head on straight, because we've got a lot to work with. This young team has a lot of potential. They're looking good. Fangio's going to learn. We didn't do that badly, and losing sucks. Nobody likes it, but I think we're still going to be awesome this year. So that's my takeaway.
All right. We did miss one question from John earlier about Locke checking his helmet.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, John.
Sideline. We always get to you, John.
Oh yeah, we do.
Sooner or later. But I think you could probably attribute it to a lot of things. I don't know if there was just a communications issue technically. I don't know if it was just the fact that Locke is a super young quarterback and trying to get the calls right from his second offensive coordinator in 2 years. There's probably a little bit of both.
I think honestly, I knowing nothing about actually what happened during the game, my thought process when that was happening was, we've had no preseason games. Technology increases every single year. There's new technology in the helmet process, in the helmet communication every single year. So they're probably using some sort of new technology that he could not hear fully because they had some sort of technical issues. We had no preseason games. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. Like, oh, we lost week 1, like throw it up in the air. But I think we did a really good job overall with the young team that we have. And I think that all came down to technology issues. Passing it back to you, David.
Boy, I have to go with what Anthony said. I think there's really nothing else to say at this point. I don't know. Is there anything else to say besides Anthony's quote, guys? What do you think?
I think the one really quickly. Bear with me.
Kevin
I'm
has
really
something to
interested.
say.
I'm really interested in sports betting. Is there maybe a place you guys know of that I could?
I think there's this
Learn
thing
about
on
that.
Jared.
I do.
J-Rock.
I know about this. I know about this.
Okay,
So
okay.
I get thrown onto this podcast that this really cool guy Raymond does, and I'm just kind of like a side guy on it because he's definitely much better at this than I am. It's called Ragers, guys. Go check out Ragers. There's a podcast, and we put out a little bit of a teaser every single week on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And go check it out, guys. We are 2-1-1 last week. So, and one of the loss was Philip Lindsay, and he was only 8 yards short. And he got he left during halftime. If he didn't leave during halftime, then we have no issues. And then the tie was over 2 touchdowns, and we only got the 2 touchdowns. So honestly, we're doing really well so far. Go follow us if you guys want to go betting. If you guys want to think about what we're talking about, go check us out. Download Ragers on Instagram, or download Ragers on iTunes, Spotify. What's the other? Stitcher, Google Play, MySpace.
He's up on Twitter giving things out.
Yeah, he has a Twitter, so go follow him.
He's in my top 8 on MySpace.
He's in the top 8. So OW Ragers is his handle. He's gonna say something new every single week, and he's gonna give you guys the best betting lines for the Broncos specifically. So go make sure you check him out. It's gonna be a lot of fun this season.
Also, check us out at BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. Kevin's got a new blog post up on the website now.
You have one yourself, good sir.
That's right. 2 new Team Trends articles coming out. Well, the first one is originally now posted. New one coming out this week. We're going to have to see how that goes. But, check us out on BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. Hit our written content. Hit all of our podcasts. Yes, MySpace. We were
kidding.
Yeah.
We were kidding about MySpace.
Surprisingly, MySpace still exists, and we have one.
Big time.
We have one.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're on John Elway.
Top 8 is still a thing, so you guys better be good because I'll kick your ass off of there.
It's going to be a thing. We've also got the post-game or the pre-game podcast is. We're going to be recording that tomorrow. That's going to be coming out before the end of the week. We've got Ragers on is that on Saturdays, Jared?
Saturdays.
Excellent. Then we'll have we'll have Kevin and I from Colorado Cork and Keg in beautiful Castle Rock, Colorado, live streaming this game. We're going to be calling it. It's going to be awful. You guys are going to get us hammered. It's going to be amazing.
It can't be more awful than whatever announcers are on TV. Just Roby's like the best, whatever in history of NFL. No, okay.
Future Hall of Famer Stephen Gostkowski.
So why don't you listen to us drink and just talk about the game and be idiots versus listen to boring idiots. So. Actually, David's pretty football smart. I'll be the just the sidekick.
Yeah, we're
still David. I agree.
We're still figuring out the roles. It's going to be a thing. Joel is insistent that we answer his question before we go, and I think it's a good idea because Joel is a fan who tuned in. The fan is all talking about Vic is over his head. Oh, we did talk about that a little bit. We've really gone over that as far as
I got really angry about it, but we can talk about it.
No, I don't think we need to go back to that, Joel.
I didn't get angry. I got firm.
There were strong opinions were shared about that Joel. I suggest you rewind a little bit. This video will be available in its entirety. We're a little bit like All 22 film that way, except you don't have to pay out the nose to get us yet. We are going to be very expensive in the future, guys. Stick with us.
We might give you all a discount for following us for being such a small.
Yeah.
Everyone with a top fan badge. Everyone with a top fan badge is going to get that discount. So
top 8 gets it free.
Top 8 gets it free.
Hit us up on MySpace, guys.
Better slide into that top 8. We got to get out of here.
Post-game podcast is up. Pre-game podcast is coming up soon. I want to give a quick shout-out to the bearded genie, our very own. Here he comes, Matt, running the background of the show. Take a bow. Okay, well, I think that's it, everyone. So,
you
ready?
I like that.
You ready?
Go
Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.
Go Broncos. Woo!
I missed that.